Have you ever looked back at your life and looked and realized that you missed certain opportunities in your life? Are there things that you can look back and say, wow, yeah, that was an opportunity that I missed? Maybe there was a call to do something and you shunned it, or you feared, or something else held you back and you didn't move into that space. And today when you look back, you're regretting and you're thinking, wow, I wish I had made the move then. And so that's an hour of visitation. That's a moment that God brings us to. It's a point in our lives, it's an opportunity that God brings our way. And what is it that makes us to fail to recognize, like Jerusalem, like the Jews in Jerusalem? What is it that makes us fail to recognize our hour of visitation? What is it that makes us fail to recognize our hour of visitation? The first one is our expectations. So often we have certain expectations of how things should go, of how things should pan out. For the Jews, they had an expectation that the Messiah will come in a particular way, that he will be a military ruler like the kings that they had had before, who had delivered them from the enemy nations. And so when Jesus comes as the King Messiah, and as these people are celebrating the triumphant entry of the Messiah, the King that is coming into Jerusalem, they failed to recognize their hour of visitation. And so they missed their opportunity because of the expectations that they had. Could it be that sometimes we prayed, God is answering our prayers, but it's just because of the way we expect him to answer that we are missing the answer to our prayers? God is moving and we're praying for him to move, and he's already moving in our lives, but it's because we expect him to move in a particular way, and when we don't see him moving in that way, we may miss that hour of our visitation. And so as we pray and as we believe God and wait upon the Lord, my prayer is that we will not be so caught up with our own expectations of how God should work or do that thing in our lives that we miss him out. And may our eyes be open, and may we be sensitive enough to see what God is doing, even if it may not be according to our own expectations. But the second thing that makes us fail to seize our moment, or makes us fail to recognize our hour of visitation, is our fears. So often it's our fears. The moment the opportunity has come, but when you begin to calculate, when you begin to do your math, it just seems impossible. And as you look at your figures, you are tempted to shrink back and not take the move. However much God is urging and speaking to you to move into that space. So often we may shy back from what God has put in our heart, or is telling us to do, just because the math doesn't make sense. So if the Lord has been speaking to you concerning something, just take that step. Just move. If he speaks to you, if he's urging you at this moment, this is your hour of visitation. So let's not let our fears hold us back. When the Lord speaks, when it's the moment that God is presenting to us, let's jump into that moment and seize our opportunity. And thirdly, what makes us miss or fail to recognize our hour of visitation is our circumstances. Don't look at your circumstances. Let's walk in obedience to what God is calling us to do. Because so often is as we walk in obedience to what God is calling us to do, is how we seize the moment, is how we don't miss that hour of visitation. When he asks us to do something, he definitely is going to see us through that which he has called us to do. Don't look at your surrounding, don't look at your circumstances. Just walk out in obedience to what the Lord is calling you to do. My prayer this morning is that we will not miss our hour of visitation.